Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. I just finished porting this little 261 Stihl. Nice little size. I've done quite a few of these for tree service guys around my area here, and a few others around North America. They're kind of like a 550 Mark II, very similar in power. They rev up nice and handle up to a 20-inch bar, no problem. 325 is better on them, but some guys run 3/8 on them. But the 325 cuts very fast. That really good 325 Stihl chain with a nice chisel tooth on it is darn good chain. Some people are like, oh, I don't like that little chain. Well, you know what? That little chain is made for a reason. It's light, it's fast, it cuts great. You can file it up nice, or you could even chisel grind it if you wanted, but just filing it up good with a good 3/16 file, or one of the 3-in-1 sharpening jigs if you're not a very good sharpener. But that's a lot to do with a chainsaw. It's a sharp chain, we all know that. Bad fuel and dull chains wreck saws, and poorly built ones. So yeah, I'm just putting this 261 back together here. I have a buddy on the island here who's got a reforestation company, or a thinning contract type company, A lot of slashing with these little saws. So he runs, normally he's ran Huskies for years, the old 346s, 357s. Then he switched to the 550 Mark I, and now he's on to some of the Mark IIs, which he's had a few problems with them, here and there with some wiring issues and a little bit of seals leaking. But overall, they stood up really well. And he favors them over the Stihl. He also has some of these 261s. They've been pretty good for him, but they do, for what his application is, they got some weak points. The clutches wear out real easy. The clutch drum, the clutch bearing. The drum seems to lose its hard surface where the bearing rides in the drum, so he's having to replace those quite a bit. Side covers aren't all that great. The back ends of them get chewed up pretty quick with guys flying chains off and stuff, But overall, a great little saw, I think for regular tree work where you're chunking down and you're just using it now and then, I think it stands up much better for that application versus the stop and go all day, pegging it to the fastest RPM, hitting the little branch, ding, 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 how it is, right? So those are some of the issues I've had with the 261s, with clutch drums and clutch springs. Also the carb solenoids, there's a few of them that we've had where they weren't idling or responding right. So we change and put the service kit in it, which gives you the new solenoid for the carburetor, which is quite easy to change. There's videos on it. I've done one on it. There's other people who've done them on it. So the tune-up kit you get is the Stihl tune-up kit. It gives you a fuel filter and the solenoid. Try to use the OEM fuel filters. They're designed the right micron so nothing gets into this carb screen, but don't ever overlook that also. If you got something that's dying out and the things you used a bit, be checking your diaphragms and your carb screen. You never know if something's in there. But I found using the OEM fuel filters, I should say, have really stopped a lot of that from happening. So they're doing their job. Same with Husqvarna. Try to use the OEM proper one. I believe it's a blue colored one now. It was orange and it was blue. Yeah, it's blue now. Anyways, so yeah, you're all probably looking going, that thing's got 2 spark plugs, Donny. It's got dual ignition. I did that once before. It showed someone. It was funny. Reason I did that is this is a 10mm threaded spark plug, which is used in a lot of the newer saws now in Huskies and Stihls. Okay, so it's good to use the proper heat range and spark plugs. I favor NGK. CMR 5H or CMR 6H will work just fine in these saws that have the 10mm. This one still has the 14mm big one, which I thought is kind of unusual, but that's the way they designed it. I don't favor the decompression in the combustion chamber. So the reason I had that plug in there, because I wanted to talk about that. If you just put a spark plug in there, it protrudes into the chamber too much. So if you use the proper plug that you can get for blocking off DSPs or decompression valves, put it in, either the Husky one or the Stihl one, and it'll sit nice and flush in that combustion chamber, and you won't have any compression release leaking issues. That happens a lot on these saws, a lot on Huskies too. This has got a really nice tight pocket combustion chamber, a little hemisphere kind of dome in there, you know. Um, yeah, I like it. They got good compression. Porting on it, it's nice. I like their transfer flow. You know, I see the wash on top of the piston. It's nice. I do raise and widen the exhaust port on it. Intake I don't touch. Yeah, so this one's ported up, ready to go back together. I just wanted to talk about, you know, the few problems that I've had with them, or guys have had with them. I don't run one every day, but the ones that I've done for tree guys that use them in that application and small falling has worked great. So there you go. There's a comparison: the 261 versus 550. You know, if I sat there, if we went out and cut some cookies, who knows which one's quicker? Probably very similar in cutting speed, but that doesn't. Who cares about cutting speed? We care about how our tools last and how our tools work in a work environment, right? You don't want this thing to be blowing up or acting up. So that's the test of a saw, is when it's used daily and makes you a living, right? You know, you can do all sorts of crazy things to saws. Put nitro on it, put a turbo on it, whatever you want to do, go right ahead, but you're not going to daily use that thing, are you? It's going to be for competition only, right? Or just playing around with your buddies. So that's what I recommend, the mufflers that I do for them. I put a dual pipe like so on it. My buddy TIG welds them on. So we add one to this corner and one to that corner. Just doing the muffler gives it roughly 0.5 to 0.7 horsepower gain, almost on any chainsaw. So muffler mod is a good thing to do if you don't want to get it ported or deal with it that way. You know, they're pretty good the way they are. I gotta totally admit, a lot of the new saws now, sure, you can get a little more power out of them for sure by porting it properly. Just gotta know which way you're going with it properly. So I judge it by how my customers like it, the response, and you know how they stand up. I've had one saw in the last maybe 4 years that I've had come back, was a 661, because I poured the exhaust port too wide, and I'm going to explain that to you right now. So on a lot of the new Stihls and some new Huskies, you got to watch going too wide on your exhaust port, because your ring gap pins, the top one or the bottom one, usually the bottom one, is usually really right next to the exhaust port, okay? So if you go too wide, you can snag a ring and break it. This one has both ring gap pins on the intake side, so it allows me to go to the width that I want for my exhaust port and raising it slightly to the spec I like. So just be careful if you're porting any saws. If you have that where the ring gap pin is next to the exhaust port, be really careful. Or take the bottom ring out if you want to get it that way. Take the one ring out that's close to there. You know, these saws will run on one ring. They don't give you as much compression, but they still run and respond faster. So you can do that if you want. I don't, but you can. Anything's possible, whatever someone wants to do. Weather's getting bad here again. It's starting to get a little windy again. We've had quite destruction if you watch my last couple of videos. But I'm going to hunker down here. My power was on and off yesterday. I barely got anything done. Today it's been steady. I left my heater on overnight down here, so it was warm when I got down here this morning. Keep my dainty little hands nice and warm and moving around. Yeah, so anyways, going to get this back together and get it off to Mr. Tommy Bullen from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Darn, buddy, I'm sorry I got hurt, because I've been way behind on saws. I bet you really wish you had this. For maybe you guys got hit a bit with those hurricanes down there. I really feel sorry for you. But I'm going to get this back to you as soon as I can here for you. And once again, I apologize to anyone that's been waiting for saws a long time. I'm back at her, though. I'm doing a few a day. It's all I can do. I don't have a magic clone or of myself to walk around here and do more. I don't have any helpers. I just do it on my own. So I get a little bored sometimes, so that's why I do lots of videos. I like to talk to people or talk to myself, I guess. I don't know. Kind of weird. I usually have a good radio going on here, the radio on while I'm working here. Then my earmuffs that I use for porting have Bluetooth in it, so I listen to the local radio station so I can hear updated news and weather and stuff. I don't know, something I'm into. A lot of people don't even watch the news and stuff, but I do. I just like to see what's going around my community. And yeah, so anyways, keep your saw in the wood, stick in the ice, rub in the road. Keep your saws maintained properly. If you have any questions, you know how to get hold of me. Bye now.